Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the November town meeting. I'm Mike Rambros. Proud to serve as president and CEO here at Whitney Center. I'd like to, before we get started, just welcome our newest residents, Mrs. Ina Lowenberg, who is in apartment 425. And moving in this Friday will be Mr. and Mrs. Bob and Jean Adnapose. So Jean Adnapose was on the board when I first came to Whitney Center 17 years ago. So it's nice to see her joining us as a resident. So when you see them, please do welcome them. For our team members who are going to report today, and for you as well, we're having some audio issues, so we're not going to be passing a mic around for questions. So we will repeat the questions when they're in comments when they're offered. Okay, and then I'll remind you if we forget. Okay, so please be patient with us. I'd like to ask Maria Lasala, our spiritual care coordinator, to come on up and open up our meeting. Maria.
Good morning, friends. I'm Maria Lasala, the Spiritual Care Coordinator. It's good to be with you today. I'd like to begin by taking a moment to acknowledge the land on which we dwell and the indigenous people who first knew this as home. We stand on the land of the Quinnipiac and other Algonquin-speaking peoples who have stewarded through generations these lands and waterways that we now call home. It matters to acknowledge the land. It's worth saying, because especially as we approach the season of Thanksgiving. This season offers us a chance to remember our past, the good things that have come our way, and the more challenging events that have changed us as a people. Thanksgiving also offers us a chance to reflect on our present time, the ways that we work together to ensure that new friends are welcome, that what matters most to us as individuals and as a community is honored, and that when hard times come, and they come, we rally and offer support to one another. Some Novembers ago, there was a big push on social media to do a gratitude post each day as Thanksgiving drew near. The instructions were pretty simple. Post something uplifting, a quote that helps you remember to be grateful, a positive story about your life, or a picture that brings you joy. For almost a month, my Facebook feed was filled with encouraging images, inspiring quotes, pictures of golden doodles, and stories from friends near and far. The practice seems to be continuing this year, and I'm grateful for that, as it is a refreshing break from the political posts, the Wordle results, and the ads that usually fill my Facebook pages. Here's what I know to be good about the practice of gratitude. Gratitude ties us to the present. When we practice gratitude, we realize what is really important and what is not. This realization encourages us to invest our time in the important stuff, the stuff that matters. And gratitude trains our brains. Just like our body, our mind is subject to what we feed it. If we focus on negative things and past hurts, we will begin to see negativity everywhere. But when we acknowledge the blessings and the good things happening in and around us, we want to look for more. And that leads to being happier and more content in each moment. And gratitude challenges us to live better. Gratitude should always be the first response for all the blessings of our lives. And if we are honest, all of us has something to be grateful for, even if they are small, simple blessings like waking up to a new day and enjoying a meal with friends. As Thanksgiving approaches, I wonder if each of us might ask ourselves, what am I grateful for today? Friends, we said goodbye to 3 residents this past week. Now let us pause and remember our friends, Minna Sills, Jane Turner, and Marilyn Friedman. We give thanks for their presence among us. There is so much to be thankful for. So in this season of Thanksgiving, I hope you will take time to look back over the years of your life, to acknowledge the hard times and the good ones, the memories that hold you fast and that sustain you still. Holidays can bring moments of sadness, but I encourage you not to stop there. Instead, dare to pause and give thanks for today, for your courage, for your resilience, for the joy you know in things great and in things small. Gratefulness is a moment-to-moment practice, remembering that life is precious and every day is a gift. I wish you a joyous Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Where's Susie? Hi, Susie. Would you like some time at the podium this morning? Okay, so we make room for the Residence Council, the President of the Residence Council, or to make any announcements with regard to the council happenings. And Ms. Weisinger does not have anything this morning. So
Just vote.
oh yes, remember to vote. Remember to vote. The election is
At the end of the month.
at the end of the month. Yes. Okay.
No. Now until the end.
Now until the end of the month, through the end of the, yes, okay. Thank you. I just want to thank Susie and the Residence Council for their wonderful partnership, just ongoing partnership with administration and the board. Susie will no longer be in her role as president, no longer serving on the Residence Council after the end of the year. And so, Susie, I am just so grateful for our partnership. It's been great working with you, and we work well together. And that is just in keeping with the relationship that we've established over the years with the Residence Council. It is a great partnership, and I look forward to the next leadership team and working with them in much the same way. And you've raised the bar even higher, and we look forward to meeting that new standard. So thank you, Susie.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to ask Peggy Joyce, our Vice President of Clinical Services, to come on up and give us a report as to what's happening in her area.
So I'd like to get up and say nothing's going on, but I don't think any of you would believe me. First, just to piggyback on Maria's, need to remember how thankful we all are. I just became a grandma to number 5 grandchild, so this Thanksgiving will be very special for another new grandson. I have now 3 grandsons and 2 granddaughters, so it happened just 2 weeks ago yesterday. So from the healthcare world, things are really stable. We really are just seeing an occasional COVID positive resident and an occasional COVID positive team member. Currently we have 1 apartment that is 2 residents living in that apartment that are finishing up their quarantine. On the 20th, they will be freed from their apartment to go about the community. So we're not seeing a lot, which is great. We do know, though, from history that winter time is a tougher time. COVID tends to increase during those months. But I'm so proud of the work we've done here, getting all of you boosted. You're in a great situation. Team members were offered the booster as well. Many of them took it. Many of the residents, just about everybody took it. So I think we're in good shape. My word of caution is this year, I'm sure everybody has heard about the triple threat. It's not just COVID like we've worried about the past couple of years, but we also have flu that's hitting. And Dr. Drickemer reminded me that Connecticut does have the highest flu rates in the New England states. We're not seeing it yet here on our campus, but it is out there. And also RSV, which is a respiratory illness that does hit younger children, usually under 1. Although one of my grandchildren who's 4 got it and ended up in the hospital. It is pretty bad for younger people, and of course with that goes for those of us that are older. It does kind of creep in. Starts out as a cold, and most people don't progress more than that, but the hardest thing is to diagnose what you might have. So please let us know if you're having any symptoms. What we've been doing is swabbing you once, and we're able, with that one swab, to send it to the lab, and then we can diagnose you with either COVID, flu, or RSV. So that's helpful. Modern medicine is wonderful. There is no treatment for RSV except the typical, hydrate and rest, etc. So again, just be careful. My words of wisdom is enjoy your holidays. For too long we were all locked up and we didn't really get to visit others. Feel free to do that. Just know who's coming in and where you're going to. If you have concerns of being with certain groups of family members or friends, it's okay to ask them to mask, because I think they'll all respect that most of us are of aging years and we want to protect each other. So feel free to mask when you think it's necessary, but use good judgment. That's really all I can say. I think we all have learned how to manage COVID over the last couple of years, and we as a community have done a stellar job. So I know all of you know what to do. So is there any questions about kind of what we're seeing out there? Greg?
I believe you've changed your procedure a bit. It used to be that if we were exposed to someone COVID positive, you would do a quick test, but now you only do that if there are symptoms.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. Yep, so the question is, have we changed our protocol? In the past, if you were exposed to someone that became COVID positive, we would test you, and we no longer do that, and that's true. Reason being is twofold. The health department no longer recommends testing anyone unless they have symptoms. So if you're symptomatic, and that means cough, sneezing, temperature, just general fatigue, more than most of us feel on an average day, those are all reasons to get tested. It's no longer a routine item. We were also asking all of you that traveled to come and tell us so we could test you. We no longer can do that. And it's not necessarily just a Whitney Center protocol. We can't test individuals without having a license, which we got during COVID for this part of the campus. It's called a CLIA license. It gives us the opportunity to kind of have a mini lab set up in our offices to test all of you. We've always had that in the health center because we do a lot of different testing in the health center. The CLIA license no longer covers us to test asymptomatic people with no symptoms. So we really can't test you. So only ask if you're having symptoms, because otherwise you could be declined. Thanks, Greg, for reminding me to bring that up. Chris?
Are you asking travelers to mask when they come back?
It's use your judgment. You know where you've been, you know who you've been with. We do not have a mandated masking policy, except it still does continue in the health center and our memory support unit. The Department of Health does want those two areas to continue masking. We just make decisions on masking based on community transmission rate, and actually there's no need to mask according to our transmission rate. We actually were at a high level. We're now down to a significant level, so we are decreasing, Do I anticipate it going back up? Sure. But again, all of you know who you're with, what kind of lifestyles those people have. Hopefully you know if they're out in places that could warrant a positive COVID. And honestly, I have to say, you could do exactly everything by the book and still end up with COVID, because you could be in the grocery store line and be exposed to someone and you just don't know it. So again, if you're worried about yourself, mask. If you're feeling confident that you're good, and again, you've all been boosted really well, you don't have to wear a mask. It's personal preference. And it's the same for our team members. We no longer require masks of our team members except in the health center and memory support. They can make that decision. So if you see people masking, it's by choice. Anything else? Yes, sir.
I just want to check, for people who didn't get the booster shot a couple of months ago, are you going to offer booster shots any longer, or should we go to the drugstore?
So community health services, forgot already. The question was, if you haven't gotten your booster, can you get it from us, or do you need to go like to a CVS or Walgreens? Community Health Services has a list, and they know who they might have missed or didn't want it at the time, and they will circle back to you. Yes, COVID vaccine is easily distributed now. In the past, we couldn't get it. Now I can just call up today and have it here tomorrow. So it's very easy to get. So I know if you're in the group and you didn't get your COVID shot, just remind Community Health you're waiting, because I thought we were pretty much done. Just let them know you would like a shot. You have to have had 2 months that went by before you can get another shot. Anything else? I think that's it. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name's Ken Sandberg, I'm Vice President of Lifestyle Services. Lifestyle Services oversees dining, facilities, resident services. So today I'm going to have Maria Frey come up and give a report on resident services. Following, I'll have Thomas Hudson come up for dining, and I will end because both Dan and Barbara, who had our maintenance and had our housekeeping, are not here today. So I will follow up at the end with reports from those departments. So Maria.
Thanks, Ken. Hi. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our newest residents. I'm Maria Freda, Director of Resident Services. For those of you who are new to the community, Resident Services is comprised of the following services: reception, transportation, security, and the spa on Main. Besides these front-of-house responsibilities, it is also the campus communication hub and creates and supports on and off-campus event programming. Today, I'd like to give a list of the upcoming happenings till the end of the year. So fasten your seatbelts, we got lots going on. Some of you who are ticket holders will be going to the Yale Philharmonia this Friday, November 18th by Whitney Center bus. Departure times for the 7:30 performance are 6:45 from the north and 6:50 from the south. You can board the bus from either desk, whichever you prefer, whichever elevator bay is closest to your departure site. So have a great time. I hear the concerts have been phenomenal. Everyone is saying the best music I have ever heard, besides the music that you hear here on Sundays at 4 o'clock. Another Yale of School music event for ticket holders is the Onepo Chamber Music on Tuesday, December 13th at 7:30 p.m., also with Whitney Center Transportation, following the same departure times. And of course, there's the MetLife Opera on December 10th to see the 1 o'clock p.m. live broadcast of The Hours, and that's going to be at Cinemark. Transportation will be provided, and I'll be sending out the confirmations and the final rosters to you. We'll email it to you as soon as it's confirmed. If by chance any ticket holder for The Hours has changed their plans and is not able to go, I do have a resident who would love to see The Hours. MetLife seats are sold out, so if by chance, just please let me know so I can let that resident know. Speaking of sold out, the Florence Teas at the Florence Griswold Museum are sold out. However, I was lucky to be able to purchase 16 tickets for the Wednesday, December 28th tea. At this time, there's only one tea ticket left. So if anybody would like to go, please let me know. Admission includes visiting the decorated house, a special exhibit called Dreams and Memoirs, as well as the tea, and a 10% discount in the discount. If you happen to be a member of the Florence Griswold Museum, rather than the full price of $40 for all of that, you get a $5 deduction. So just let me know. And all of that will be billed to your Whitney Center account, so you need not to worry. Just bring money to buy things. And it is, I know it's December 28th, so it's after Christmas, but I think it'll be a great way to just become after the holiday and gear up for New Year's. Let's see. In addition to the program calendar, the 7th Art Production Film Series, which began in November, will also be part of our December calendar. The next film in the series will be Van Gogh in Japan, and will be shown in the CAC on December 6th at 3:30. So again, what's so exciting about these film presentations, as well as Dr. Braverman's, they're so international, so they really help reinforce a cultural awareness and appreciation and competency. So that's been wonderful. Speaking of the films, as a favor, Dr. Braverman asked me to mention that he needs a volunteer to run the movie on the Saturday after Thanksgiving at 7:30 here in the CAC. It will be a DVD, so anyone who has any experience in the booth, he will be with family. So if anybody can help him out, please call Dr. B. Another added addition will be on December 8th at 1 p.m. This is something new. Massaro Farms will be at Whitney Center to present a holiday food cooking demonstration in the CAC, and they also guarantee snacks. So Massaro was here, presented a lecture on sustainability and regenerational farming. They were so taken by the audience and the audience's reaction. It was a lecture that was a full house, I believe. So they said, what else can we do for the Whitney Center community? So they said, we're here, we'd like to volunteer our time. So in addition to the cooking demonstration, they will be back. I spoke with Annika for a part 2 of their presentation in February, and then we definitely will be making more visits to Massaro as well. Another new addition for us in December, there will be a family holiday music event for residents and staff families on December 11th here in the CAC at 1 o'clock, and that will be a prelude to the 4 p.m. holiday concert offered by Orchestra New Haven with Jim Sinclair. So that will be a lot of fun as well. And then Maria La Sala and I are planning to visit the Blessed Michael McGivney Pilgrimage Center to see the nearly 50 creches from around the world in a featured exhibit called Christmas in the Castle at the Knights of Columbus Museum. So as soon as we get a date on that, we will let you know, and bus transportation will bring us down there. So you think that is all we can offer you? Is it? Do you think that that's all we can offer you? Well, there's more. Bingo is back. Yes, bingo is back. Yes, it really is. Because I went to the JCC, I went and played bingo, actually with Dawn, and we had such a great time. And we actually, there were prizes of designer handbags. We're not doing that. We'll work on some prizes, but as I like to say, the gift that bingo brings is camaraderie and sitting at the table with each other. So that's the greatest gift, of sharing that time. So, and it's been 4 years since we broke out the bingo boards and the bingo cage. So I know the wait is over. It is coming back. So I really want to try to make, and anyone who has any suggestions, just make this holiday season for all of us, whether it's celebrating Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, just let it all happen. So does anyone have any questions? No? You're all good? Yes, you do.
We
Yes.
have a Whitney Center choral concert.
Oh, I'm sorry. And when is that?
The 14th.
The 14th. So see, the fun just never ends. A Whitney Center Chorale concert. So we got that, and so we're looking forward to that. So if there aren't any more questions, I just love to wish all of you a very joyous and happy Thanksgiving. I'll be heading down to DC to be with my son Zach on Tuesday, and I really hope the holiday brings you more joy and love than your heart can hold. So thank you very much. And who's next on my list? Thomas Hudson. All right, great, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Mike. Oh, I only heard Mike. Good morning, everyone. All right. I'm Thomas Hudson. I'm Director of Dining Services, for those who don't know me as yet. I just have a couple of things to share with you this morning, and I'll be out of your hair. First thing I want to talk about is there's been a number of questions about the differences between the buffet meals that we have in the pub and in the bistro. So I just want to clarify a few things. A couple weeks ago, we reopened the grill 4 days a week. On those 4 days, we've adjusted the buffet that we have in the bistro at the same time while the grill is open. So it's a few less items on the buffet, and therefore it's a lesser price. So what it doesn't include, as you get in the pub, it doesn't include a dessert and a salad at that time. On the other 3 days, which is Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, the buffet does include the salad and dessert. And I know that a number of people have been asking about that, and I think sometimes we've actually made a mistake and not provided all the components. So I just want to make it clear, I've spoken with my team, and the expectation is on the 3 days in the bistro that the grill is not open, the buffet should include dessert and the salad. Are there any questions on that? And are we clear? Because I want to make sure we're offering you the right service at the right time. Okay? Next, did everyone see the tasting schedule for the rest of the year? All right. So, I hope you've noticed I inserted an extra tasting. We would have had a tasting this month, which is tomorrow, and I hope to see everyone there. We'll be tasting a wide selection of whiskeys, bourbons, and rums. Tasting. Right? But I have a wonderful selection that I've handpicked for you, so I'm looking forward to seeing you all there. I've inserted another one, which is on the 9th. We'll be having Beers of the World. The last beer tasting we had was a real success. We had a wonderful time, so I decided to have another one. This one I've chosen about 8 or 9 beers from different countries around the world, and we'll have a tasting. And then the last one will be in December. We'll be doing some champagnes so we can usher the year out with a bang. So I look forward to seeing you there. I will resend or repost that schedule so we're always aware and closer to the time. Last but not least, Thanksgiving is upon us, and I've sent out the menu and the dates and all the details. And did everyone get that? Do I need to? I'm hoping to send it out again early next week, just so we're aware and we know what the times are. We will be making a few adjustments, which is what I wanted to speak about. I'm really conscious this year of creating the opportunity for my team to have some time with their families also. A lot of times we are here until later in the evening, and it doesn't give them that time to go home and have a meal or have some fellowship with their with their families. What I will be doing on Thanksgiving Day and possibly Christmas Day, those major holidays, is we may be closing the pub. I've looked at the statistics over the last few years, and it's nobody really comes back out or comes back down to the pub after the large holiday meal that we serve during the day. So we will have the bistro open. I'm looking to adjust the hours of the bistro to possibly an hour earlier. So we might be trying to close it at 6, so that the staff can wrap up, clean up, and be able to get home with some hours to spend with their family. All these details, I'll be putting out a memo between now and very early next week that will highlight all these items and all these changes for the holiday season. Earlier this year, the USDA warned us that we would possibly not have turkeys for Thanksgiving. We do have turkeys for Thanksgiving. The problems have been solved to some extent, and we do have turkeys. There were 2 walking outside this morning. I had a conversation with them and assured them that they were not part of our menu, and that is probably why you saw them looking quite happy and comfortable. So we do have turkeys. We should have our regular turkey meal on Thanksgiving, and we hope to have a wonderful time with you all there. I hope you saw the hours for Thanksgiving are 12 to 3, and this will be in center stage. I hope you've all been making your reservations. If you haven't, just call, leave your message, or speak to whoever it is, and we'll get you on that schedule. All right? Any questions on that? I was hoping for a question. So, in the spirit of Thanksgiving, I want to, as always, thank you for your patience, your understanding, your support of what we do and how we do it, and most of all, we thank you for allowing us to serve you through the year and on every day and every time, and it's just an absolute pleasure. All right? Thank you very much. Have a great day and season.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Maria, for your reports. So I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about facilities and specifically getting ready for the winter. So I'm not sure if any of you saw the forecast, what's happening in Buffalo, New York. 4 feet of snow. Yeah, 4 feet of snow in Buffalo. So thank goodness we're not getting 4 feet here, but we've had close to 4 feet here. Those of you who were living here in 2013, 9 years ago, we had almost 4 feet of snow. It was a fun time at that. It was fun. Anyhow, facilities, they're getting the outdoors ready for that, cleaning up, putting the furniture away. So we're handling that, getting the equipment ready. I'll be getting a memo out next week for those of you who have cars, because what we've come to find is a few residents don't stock their cars that often. They have dead batteries. So we'll be getting a memo out next week to remind you to go out, make sure you start your car, make sure your car is running. Because what typically happens here in a snowstorm is we end up moving all the residents' cars underneath the garage, and it really helps with our cleanup. So we have a valet key for all the residents who have a car on campus, and we have a whole system in place. Our parking lots are somewhat challenging to plow, so that's why we have to really move all the cars away and underneath. So it is quite an undertaking. We do ask for your cooperation and your patience during these storms. And again, we'll be getting a memo out next week detailing that, but this is sort of that prep reminder that the winter has arrived. A week and a half ago when we had 70 degrees on the weekend, unfortunately that's no longer here. So that's probably the biggest thing that we're working on within facilities. I also want to remind you that the House Committee, chaired by Carol Jelstad, meets once a month. And our House Committee really focuses on our maintenance, our housekeeping. It's open to residents that want to come and join. If you have any questions, any concerns, Barbara and Dan go to those meetings. I go to those meetings. So it's really a place for residents to come and ask us questions. So I'm really inviting any of you that do have any questions, concerns about anything from the housekeeping and the maintenance side, please come to our House Committee. And then we can have a nice, I see Mrs. Greenbaum shaking her head, yes, please come. And that's when we can have some good conversations about any questions or any concerns. So that is it for my report. So, and for Lifestyles reports. Any questions? Okay. Well, thank you. Have a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving holiday, everybody.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Michelle Pandolfi. I'm Vice President of Enrichment Services. I have a couple of quick announcements. Maria would like to remind you all to check out the weekly calendar and the K4 app and the digital screens for all the upcoming holiday programs in December, including the annual Hanukkah program, the Christmas lessons, and the Carol service. Quick update on Thrive at Home. We have been very popular lately, which we're really excited about. We have, our membership has increased to 81 active members. We've overall had 94 people join the program. We have 15 applications in process right now, so we expect the end of the year in January to be really popular. We're really excited about it. Last month we welcomed 3 new members, James and Martha Brogan and Alex Purvis, and we said goodbye to Walter Eriker, who passed away unexpectedly, so we will miss him. And then we have Robert coming up, and we have a special guest. Vanna White will be back to show us about the A-Linker. Turn over to Robert.
Okay, good morning, everybody. I'm always amazed how high this mic is until I get up here. Well, without further ado, here's the A-Linker. Come on, Wanda, sit on it. Ride it around. Yeah. There we go. So, the A-Linker is a walking bicycle. Okay, so this is a solution for anybody who's looking to get outside and explore their environment, who likes to ride bikes but doesn't really feel like they can hold themselves up or pedal a bike anymore. It's pretty cool. I'm really grateful to be able to present a neat, clever mobility solution to the campus here and for the funding from the philanthropy department to purchase 2 A-Linkers. Very nice, Wanda. Very good. So it's fun. It's fun. It's not easy, though. So although it looks like something you can just get on and stride around in, it's a challenge. We are going to be holding a Try Out the A-Linker workshop tomorrow here at 10:45. So I encourage anyone who's interested in testing it out to come down. I'm going to work with you on how to use it safely. Justin will help me out. We have 2 A-Linkers. Where they're going to live is still going to be determined. And if for some reason you can't make it to the workshop tomorrow at 10:45 here, send me an email, give me a call, and I'll make it a point to meet up with you and show you how to use it. So, thank you very much. Thank you, Wanda. Thank you, Vanna. And like any good modern bike, it's light as a feather.
Did we just solve our transportation issues? I think so. Road race next week down Main Street. So I'm Rafael Avila. I'm Vice President of Technology Services. And I want to mention that we're currently experiencing a television outage in the north building. And the apartments affected are stats between 227 and 245. So that means apartment 227, 327, 427, all the way down to 245, 345, 445, and up are out. But I've got Nick and Connor on the hunt. We're confident it's just one of our amplifiers that has blown, and we'll get that replaced. An update on digital signage for the elevators. It's been a hot topic, so we're still evaluating what the scope of work may be to install a digital screen in each elevator versus at the elevator landing. We are working with our elevator vendor and our K4 vendor to determine how best we could get an internet signal in the elevator cars, Wi-Fi, which the systems need. Whichever direction we take, whether it's at the elevator landing or in the elevator, the feedback we've been getting is that it would be preferred if those screens only display the daily events, right? It's not practical to be in an elevator and wait for the screen to scroll to see what's going on. So that's the kind of feedback we've been getting. So as we get more information and figure that out, we'll pass that along. So speaking of K4, some interesting community statistics on the app's utilization. We have 150 residents actively using the app. On average, those 150 residents use the app 9 times per day. On average, there is one new post every day that administration is posting. The most popular app features over the last 90 days are the calendar of events. So that is seeing 41,000 interactions. So what an interaction is one touch of the screen, one scroll, one click of the mouse is an interaction. So the calendar of events, and followed by the resident and staff directory. Very popular. That's seen 32,000 interactions over the last 3 months. So we're pleased to see that people are using the app, and we certainly hope that the content is meaningful and useful. I'd like to use the rest of my time to remind us that there are people who make a living trying to scam us out of our money, out of our identity. And older adults are a target. Older adults may be less inclined to report fraud because they don't know how. They may be too ashamed of having been scammed. They might also be concerned with family members losing their confidence that they can handle their financial affairs. They might not report it. And they're a target because they might not necessarily be able to supply or provide the detail of the scam to investigators. So you're a target. The total annual loss in older adult scams exceeds $3 billion per year. 5 common scams that we see. Tech support scams. Criminals pose as technology support representatives and offer to fix non-existent computer issues. The scammers gain remote access to your computer, or they look for sensitive information to take. So believe me that Microsoft and Apple and all of those software applications that you're using, no one is monitoring your computer. No one should ever be calling you to let you know that there's some impending doom, that something is not working. It doesn't work that way. The grandparent scam, criminals pose as a relative, usually a child or a grandchild, claiming to be in immediate financial need. We see this. Someone calls pretending to be a grandkid. I'm in trouble, I'm in jail, don't tell mom and dad, I need money. You get scammed. And they're professionals, so they're very good at getting you to reveal what their name is supposed to be and information. So, government impersonation scams. Criminals pose as government employees and threaten to arrest or prosecute the victim unless they agree to provide funds or other payments. So we see this often, people calling, pretending to be from Social Security, from Medicare, your benefits are expiring. There's a warrant for your arrest, you haven't paid your taxes, all those sorts of things. Business imposter fraud. This one is, we've seen an uptick on this one in the community. It's unfortunate, but 1/3 of business imposter fraud complaints involve scammers pretending to be from Amazon, right? And what we're seeing is you get a phone call or an email, and someone pretending to be from Amazon says, we want to validate, we want to confirm the $700 TV you just purchased. I didn't buy the TV, what are you talking about, right? Rest assured, no problem, we're gonna refund you the money. What credit card do you want us to refund the money to? And they get your credit card info. It happens more times than you think. The thing about a scam is, it's only a scam if you fall for it, right? And we have cybersecurity in servicing that we do for all our new hires and once a year for our existing team members. And what we say is that in order for the scam to be effective is the scammer has to get an emotional response out of the victim. That's what they're looking for. So they'll use certain verbiage like the $700 TV you just purchased, right? If you don't do this, this will get suspended. If you don't take this action, you're going to get blocked. If you don't click this link, we're going to put you in collections. You might get arrested. So that's what they try to do, because they want to get an emotional response, someone to act, click a link, provide information before they have an opportunity to really stop, look, and think, am I really being scammed? And then there's other flags that we see in emails with phishing scams, like grammar is typically one, very, very poor grammar, because a lot of these scams come from other countries. If you think you've been scammed, and you think you fell for it, you realize you were scammed, the best thing for you to do is to call me or anyone on my team, because there's various levels of scams. There's computer scams, there's phone scams, identity scams, and we want to direct you on what the best course is, who to call, who to contact, etc. And lastly, if you did not make our safety fair last month, I had a cyber security booth, lots of handouts, tips, tricks, things to look out for. If you didn't get a copy of that or want another copy, please see me after the meeting in the back, and I'll give you a copy. Are there any questions for me? Yes, sir.
If we get a scam, even if it's pretty obvious, do you want us to forward the scam? If it's an email, do you want us to forward it to you or to anybody else?
So the question is, if I was scammed, what do you want us to do? Do you want us to forward you the email? So the best thing to do is to contact someone in the IT team. Don't do anything else till you contact us, because we want to provide you with the direction that you need to take next. It might be call the police. It might be change your password for your email. It depends on the extent of the scam. Yeah, call me. You want to call somebody, and it's okay to get a work order in. I mean, that's fine too. But you want to just reach out so we can kind of assess the scam and figure out what to do next.
I've had several people have told me that my Amazon membership will be canceled if I don't do something. And since I don't have an Amazon membership,
it's a scam.
It's an obvious scam.
Right.
Do you want us to call you for that?
We don't mind that type of information, because this is how we become aware that there's an uptick in the scams in the community, and we get the word out. So even though you know it's a scam, let us know that, hey, this is what happened, so we can get the word out. Ms. Krevlin, did you have a question?
I just wondered if it happened on a weekend and you're not here.
So the question is, if it happens on a weekend and we're not here, get a work order in. Because contrary to what I tell my wife, that I don't check emails on the weekend, I do. But certain things we respond to, things that we deem are very important and time sensitive. So just get a work order in. That's the best thing to do. Yes?
I'm so sorry to ask this, because I'm sure it's a stupid question, but I'm going to ask it. As I sat here, I got 3 scams. They say scam, but I know there are people who call me who don't give me their name. So I feel bad that it keeps coming, so I think it may be a friend. So I don't know if I should open it.
Email or phone call? Email. So the question is, I'm getting an email and I'm afraid I don't know whether I should open it or respond. It's tricky. There's no easy answer because you're dealing with a professional. So grab the handouts that I have, because because there's several pages of tips in there of the red flags. Sometimes you'll get an email that says, "Dear user," or "Dear member," or "Dear subscriber." It's not personalized. That could be a flag. Poor grammar, that's another flag.
But I haven't opened it, so I should open it.
Yeah, it's okay to open the email, but not take any action until you know it's a good email. So avoid clicking links or replying, but sometimes you have to open the email to kind of examine it, right?
It says spam email.
Pardon me?
It says spam email.
So right in your email software, it tells you it's spam. So that's the other tricky thing is there's spam, which is just unwanted, annoying emails, right? That are soliciting or marketing, promotional type of emails. Spam, they come in bulk. And then there's phishing scams, which is email that is designed to look like it could be spam, but it's really there to try to get your information. So it's really about just raising the level of your awareness, trying to find the flags in the email, and if you're not sure, just reach out. It's that simple. But don't ever give anyone any private information without validating who you're giving it to. So for example, I'll be right with you. So for example, Amazon, you get an email, you get a phone call from Amazon, you made a purchase, hang up or don't reply to the email. Navigate to Amazon.com yourself, go to the contact section and find a phone number to call Amazon yourself. And that goes with anyone you do business with, banks, any store.
I got an American, I lost my American Express card. I got an and I got a new one. I got an email saying, "Thank you, we're glad we hope you got your American Express card." Yeah. And would you, and then they said to me, "Please fill out the following information: the number of your American Express card, etc." So of course I didn't answer it. I couldn't imagine why they would be asking me that.
Yeah, it might be a survey. I'm sorry, so the question was, I got a new Amazon credit card, or American Express, and then I was followed up by an email from hopefully American Express, and they wanted you to fill something out. We'd have to examine the email to see what they were looking for, but just note this, that American Express will never ask you what your full credit card number is, right? Because they give you the credit card number, right? So the things to keep in mind. They might ask you for the last four, right?
They asked for the
Yeah.
whole thing.
Yeah, I would stay away. And when in doubt, call the number on the back of your credit card.
I think I did call.
Yeah. Just like Social Security will never ask you for your Social Security number, right? They give you the number. And the IRS typically doesn't call people. They'll mail you a letter. So it's just kind of things to be aware of. Yes?
A very different issue. We've had people accessing Netflix. When they ask you to validate yours, so nothing happened. Somebody else, has anybody else experienced that problem?
No, not any type of systemic issue regarding accessing Netflix. No, nothing that we're seeing. So it might be your Netflix issue might be specific to your device, your set. Get a work order in, and somebody on the team will come see you. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
Thanks, Raph. Okay, I just want to see, okay. Sean, I'm going to invite Sean O'Connor, our Vice President of Marketing, come on up and give us a quick marketing update. Thanks.
I don't know why this microphone is so low, Robert. There we go. Well, it's been a little while since I've been up here. We've had a lot of special town halls talking about things like Meadow Mills and other things, but I'll give you an update and just realize some of these numbers are bigger because I haven't done a town hall probably in 2 months. But currently we have 23 available apartments. We have 57% of those are 1 bedroom, and then we have 43% that are 2 bedroom. 16 are in the north building, and then we have 7 in the south right now. There are currently 5 apartments that are reserved. All the people have been approved and are going through the process, and we anticipate them moving in before the end of the year. We've had 9 residents move in since the last time I was up here. The team has taken 5 new reservations, and like I said, we're anticipating another 4 or 5 residents before the end of the year. Our occupancy continues to average right around 88%. Even though we're moving more people in, our release numbers continue to go up. Jeff and I were actually having a conversation. We jinxed ourselves that we thought we were going to be smooth sailing through the end of the year, and we got a couple more releases in right before the end of the year. And then to date, we have moved 26 residents in. 10 have moved into the north building, and 16 have moved in to the south building. Overall advertising continues to do well. Our leads are up 44% year over year, so from last year to this year. And then 2020 was COVID, so I really don't count that one, but we're up about 93% from that year. And then, as Michelle said, we have 6 new members that have joined Thrive at Home since the last time I was at the podium. We have 15 applications in, and we have a few more coming, Michelle. And then we have 17 new members year to date. And that is my update. Any questions that folks have? All right, was that good? There you go. All right.
So, Jeff, before you go, I would like to ask Peggy to come on up again. So we're going to give a brief update on Meadow Mills, let you know how that's going. And in the future, I'm going to ask that Peggy do that as a second part of her regular report. And the reason is that Peggy is overseeing the team that is working on the Meadow Mills transition and the operations there. Okay, so without further ado, Peg, you want to give us a brief update?
Sure. So we became present in the building after the day we actually purchased the property, which was we purchased October 31st. So our team came into the building as of November 1st. I have to tell you, the last 2 weeks have been, it's very emotional for me. It's funny because I loved that building, and it's like I'm going back home. The fact that I have the privilege of going in there and helping those residents, it's really just phenomenal. I don't think I've been fulfilled this much in my entire 45-year career. The team over there, the staff that work there, the majority are very passionate about working with individuals with cognitive decline. They're dedicated. We've spent the 2 weeks getting to know them, learn about their schedules, who they are as people. We've been so well received that it really is overwhelming. The fact that we have taken over, I think, has brought such peace of mind to many of the staff there. They worked with a corporation that was out of state, and no offense to them, they just didn't really have on the ground people that really cared a lot about what they did, how they did it. And I think they're seeing what we're bringing to this community. Karen Russell, as you know, is the executive director. And those of you that know Karen, she is so passionate about working with individuals with cognitive change. Michelle Stocking is our salsa here, as well as overseeing across the street. And like I said, I have the privilege of overseeing all of this. So for the first 2 weeks, our focus truly has been on the staff, figuring out who's who, making sure everybody has schedules. I will tell you, it's no different across the street as here. There is workforce challenges there. They have many open positions, and that's our priority right now, is to try to get the right people into those positions. Because as you know, working with people that have those cognitive needs, it's a challenging position to be in. So the last thing we want to do for these people is burn them out because they're working, as we call in the industry, shorthanded. So we need to get resources in for them, and I think we've already hired 5 new CNAs to join the troops. We still have a lot more to go. Nursing-wise, a few people did resign on us because they really didn't want to commit to anything. So we have a few nursing positions open, but mainly just on the weekends, but we are getting that covered as well. So now that we've had multiple staff meetings, we've laid ground rules, because I think the thing I took away from spending the 2 weeks over there for either full days or partial days is there hasn't been a lot of structure for the staff, and they're craving it. They want to know what the expectations are. So we did lay a lot of ground rules. Things as basic as when you're scheduled, you should come to work. They had an attendance issue. So we have brought over our Whitney Center policies and reviewed those. And the people that always showed up for work, they're saying, thank goodness, help is on the way. So we've been received extremely well. Now we're venturing into getting to meet all the residents and the families. We're sitting down with families to talk about expectations. We want to hear from them what their goals are so that we can blend what they're looking for as well as what we can provide. So it's really been a great experience. The team is so enthused. We're really excited. Have there been bumps in the road? Oh yeah, absolutely. But we're looking at every challenge as a new venture and how we can make things better. So I think, I have to say, Whitney Center should be very proud knowing that we're there, really improving the lives of all of those residents there. I think we're making a huge impact, not only on the residents, but even the team members. The team is just so much happier because they have people to go to and people that will listen to them. The other important thing for all of you to know is we did keep every single staff member but 2, and that was because we already had Karen Russell to be the executive director and Michelle to be the salsa. So only 2 people they're still with us because we're learning from them, but eventually, by the middle of December, they would be leaving. But everyone else is staying with us. So we're getting to get our feet wet and move on. So I don't know if anybody has questions or, Greg?
Are you going to change the name?
So the question is, are we going to change the name? That's a Mike Ramrose question, so when I step away, he can address that. Anything else? Joe?
Just out of curiosity, I believe that when Mike spoke about earlier, he said that there were 4 vacancies in there. Are we gonna start moving our people in there? And we have about a dozen or so in our place. So it's obviously gonna take a while before you can empty out our member unit and get them all over.
Correct. So the question is, will our residents start to transfer over to Meadow Mills? And yes, but we're just being very strategic about the moves. We need to get a few things set first, like staffing. I don't want to bring our residents into a household. There are 4 households, like Mike has described to you. Some of the households are working with less than ideal staffing. We're really wanting to get those voids filled before our residents go over, because we want the experience for our community of residents that go there to be a very positive one. So there's things we can definitely fix up front. We've already made some changes that I think will affect. They had very restrictive visiting hours, for example. Our visiting hours are going to be 24/7. They were only allowing 2 people to visit a person at a time because of COVID, but those things went out months and months and months ago. So we're making subtle changes that are affecting the current residents, but once we're confident that we're good, we have a whole transition plan ready to go.
And are we gonna move our staff over there?
Yes, our staff will come with us. They're waiting to come. They're hearing great things, so they're anxious. Not that they're not happy upstairs, but they want to get in there and become placeholders.
The 2 people who are leaving, are they critical, and why are they leaving?
They're leaving because we have asked them to leave, only because we already had people in the same positions they currently hold. We have a charge. The executive director is kind of the charge of the whole community. We have Karen Russell, who we hired as the memory support supervisor. When we hired her, we were hoping something like this would happen, and so she's taking that place. We don't need 2 executive directors. The same with the nursing, the head nurse there. You don't need 2 clinical directors. So no, they've been extremely they're grateful that we gave them, some time to spend with us so that we can learn from them, but they're not leaving with any ill feelings. We work with them every day. I think they've appreciated our conversations. Anything else other than the name change? Okay.
Thanks, Peg. Regarding those two individuals, we did let them know, even before we closed on the financing, that would be the process, and we offered them a good severance package, both of them. So offered them to stay with us to help us learn, and then from there, their severance would kick in. So we were very compassionate, I think, about the way we went about it. As far as the name change, so lots of names have come in. Wonderful. We're gonna hold Pat right now because of a couple of things. One, during something like this, change change in any circumstance can be a very scary thing. And so our goal is to change as little as possible over the first few months, so that we get the team members, the residents, and their families comfortable with the whole transition. And so changing the name, while it might seem like a small thing, there's an identity associated with that. And from our perspective, the identity is either positive or negative or somewhere in between. But these are people's homes. These are the services to which they signed up and have established some level of trust. And we want to honor that. We don't want to simply say it's not good enough, we're here now, we're going to do our thing. So it's a matter of just observing and respecting their choice, and so we want to sort of slowly go into that. So that's one thing. And so whether we change the name or not is still on the table, okay? As well as all of the other options. Another reason to wait is that we have started a very intentional strategic planning process with our board of directors. And part of that includes sort of long-term visioning for not only Meadow Mills and dementia care and memory support, but the whole campus, Whitney Center's business model, sort of the future of where Whitney Center is going. And that future could very well be in the sphere of partnerships that lead to more research, that lead to grant funding. We have no grant funding right now. That lead to all sorts of opportunities that we might want to explore. So there may be an opportunity to change the name such that it engenders that kind of image, right, that we might aspire to in alignment with that strategy. I hope that makes sense. And then the third thing is, as we move down that path, there will be opportunity for philanthropic activity, fundraising. A setting like Meadow Mills engenders the kind of interest, emotional connection, and fundraising that Whitney Center as a business model doesn't necessarily do. Right? We don't get very much outside philanthropic support for Whitney Center proper. And you can imagine why. There's lots, even though we're a 501c3 nonprofit for 43 years, we've not had a formal program but for the last handful of years, and that's growing. But there's a natural emotional connection to a place like Meadow Mills, and so therefore we don't want to be too hasty. If we're going to engage in fundraising and some philanthropy effort, there may be a naming opportunity there. So if any of you are interested, you could certainly have a name. There's probably a price tag with that. I'll consult with Terry for that. So there's multiple reasons, Greg, to hold off on the name change. Okay. All right. I'm going to ask Jeff Devaney to come on up and give a quick update on our financial status, and then I'm going to go into our budget for next year.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm Jeff Devaney, Vice President of Finance. Just give you a brief update. Financially, as of September 30th, our revenue is down about 4%, mostly due, as Sean was saying, about apartment releases. And our costs are really running on budget as of then, but we are running at a loss of about 1.7 million. But that's offset. Our entry fees have been coming in very strong above budget, so overall cash flow is good and everything's doing well. So financially, we're doing well. Another subject, we're in the midst of putting a new system in, point-click care. As you know, we all got new invoices late this month. These invoices have some one-time items on them that you only see this time, is the balance forward and the previous month's service fees. That will only happen on this invoice. You won't see that again going forward. If you have any questions and you want to go through the details of your invoice, please see Ann Batiste or Jennifer Centaur in the business office. They can walk you through those invoices in detail. Also, we're putting a new system in, a portal system in that you can pay your invoices through. That won't be in until early 2023. Until then, you're going to get paper-based. There won't be any emailed invoices going out until we get that. Once we get the portal in, you can go on the portal. It'll be like you're going to your bank. Like you know how you log on to your bank and you go in and you can look at your statements? It'll be more like that, and then you can pay an invoice through that portal. You won't be receiving any more emails with invoices on them. And as I said, that will be all paper-based until we get that operational. That's about all I have. Does anybody have any questions? Yes.
If you have direct deposit already, how does that work with the portal?
I'm not sure. Do you know, Ref? I'm not sure how that's going to work.
You just repeat the question.
The question is once we go to the portal system, how will the direct deposit work?
If you are paying your monthly service fee via the ACH, the automatic withdrawal, that will stay. That won't change at all. You have the option, if you don't do that, you can pay via the payment portal via an electronic check. We can process that. We encourage the ACH. It's more streamlined. However, as Jeff mentioned, we won't be able to email statements any longer because that technology is a legacy type of technology. And we had a legacy billing system. So we moved on to a much more sophisticated system. And just like your bank and other institutions, we get a statement like a credit card company, you log into the portal and you download your statements or older statements. So that's what we're moving to. So the portal will be there for you to log in, pay your bill if you so choose to through there. Your ACH, your recurring ACH will stay the same. You'll have the ability to download your own statements or look up past statements through the portal. And that will be effective early next year.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Are you still going to give everyone a paper bill?
Yes, you'll receive a paper bill until that portal is operational. Once that is operational, though, you won't receive the paper bill. Yes.
I use Wells Fargo, and they are very reluctant to send paper, but I insisted I need a paper statement, so I get it. Is that going to happen possibly here? Think about it, please.
Yeah. Did you get that? I didn't get the
Yeah,
question.
yeah,
I was
yeah.
trying to listen to the answer. Her bank doesn't want to use a paper statement,
She demands paper.
but she is demanding to have a paper statement from the bank.
And I get it.
Can she do that here? And the answer is yes.
Okay. Thank you.
What do you do about people who don't have computers or cell phones? How do they go in and they pay for it, figure out what their bills are?
I'm 85.
Paper. They can go use paper. Yes. I'm sorry.
Oh, hold on,
Go
hold
ahead.
on.
Occurred to me that my bill was left on a shelf outside my door. And I'm wondering about privacy for that. Is that a good idea?
Was it sealed?
It was not, it was just like the tip of it was sealed. So it could have been opened easily. truthfully, I just wondered. I thought about it when I put it out here.
Okay, well, we can seal the envelopes going forward.
Then we can't reuse them.
Yeah, well.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
If we, since we're not getting a paper copy, is there a way to print a copy of things, of bills or things like that through a Whitney Center printer?
Can you print through the portal? Yes, you can print through the portal.
And where will the print come out?
So you would log into the portal. You would download a PDF copy of the statement to your computer, and you can save it or you can print it to your printer.
But if you don't have a printer,
If you want to log into the portal and print your statements, I would recommend you buy a printer.
Hold on now. Let me just say this. Chill out. Let me just say this. If you're not someone who's accustomed to computer technology and printing and paper, we'll work with you. Okay, we will work with you. We're not going to expect everyone to just go over to the portal. So please don't let your anxiety get the better of you because we're transitioning to a new system. Okay, we will work with you so that you know how to access your bill, you know how to pay it, whether you want to stay on paper. I'm seeing Ann, who runs the operational part of this, shake her head yes. We will work with you, so no fret. Okay, as this gets a little closer, we'll have more specific details about how this will happen, and we'll probably have some meetings, I would guess, to go over it and walk through the process with you. Okay? So I know there are a lot of questions right now, but we're a couple months away. Greg was trying to give you Jeff was trying to give you, I don't know who you are anymore. Jeff was trying to give a high level overview of what's coming down the pike. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, good, thanks. Okay. So, we are running a little long, but I want to get this out. So, the board this morning, yes. Oh, Terry, sorry, come on up. Yes, please. So sorry. Yes, please. You know what? I need to have you on the agenda.
No, that's okay. You were busy this morning and I sent you a note, so no worries. Good morning, everyone. It's great to see you. 2 weeks ago in the CAC, we had a philanthropy gathering. Thank you for those who came, but if you were unable to attend, I just want to call your attention. We recorded it, and thanks to Nick Riccardi, we edited it. So it was an over an hour program, and people here who attended it said it was really well done. They didn't get bored, but in interest of your time, we broke down the topics that were covered by our team members, and there were some residents involved as well, talking about all the programs that we've funded through philanthropy, and it's a lot, and it's amazing. So this week on Channel 102 is running, I think it's like 13 minutes. It's the topic on positive approach to care, memory support services. Elaine Guidone, our staff educator, headed that up. You'll hear from Karen Russell and also Michelle Stocking, as we talked about. Next week we'll have a segment, it's about 11 minutes, on the staff grants. Don't miss that because you will hear all the names and see a lot of the folks that got grants, and you'll hear from them a little bit. I do apologize, we did have some slides up, but when we do the recording, we can only focus on the lectern, which was the most important part. And then we'll segment out the other videos. So over the course of the next 2 months, you can tune in and you can see all the fun that we had and learn some things about all the programs that we've supported through philanthropy, through your gifts. So I want to say thank you for that. I will also be announcing through 102, I'll put it on that. I'll do some postings. I had kicked off a fall fun raffle on November 3rd, and we did sell some tickets, but I'm going to keep selling those tickets up until the next town hall meeting. Next town hall, we will pick the winners, but there are 5 prizes, I would say, and they're all donated by residents. But what's cool about this is it showcases our residents' talents. For example, there's a gourmet dinner for 8 people that would be cooked by Dr. Richard Yaddo, and it would be in his apartment. Deanie Blanks recently published poetry book, which are sold out from her last talk this past weekend. I have a copy, so that's a raffle. Alda Saunders is offering dog sitting for 1 evening, so folks can get out and do something, but I think that's most generous and lovely for all our dog owners. Joan Wexler has offered a custom-made tongue twister, and if folks know Joan, she would always do the tongue twisters before the story slams. She would write them months after months, so she will interview you if you win, and she will create a beautiful tongue twister that you can show your friends and family, and it's something to be cherished. And finally, Lucienne Kaufman is a master weaver, and she has offered, you can choose one from a design of 4 colors and designs of a beautiful throw that she created, and they're just lovely. So I'll be getting more and more information out there. One of the things I want to invite Maria Freda up just for a quick second. She wanted to mention something, but we did cover it in our philanthropy program, but New Year's Eve.
Yes, and yeah, I forgot to make a mention that Molly Ryan will be here on New Year's Eve, so get your dancing shoes ready, and that's why Terry, I thought, could introduce it for me. Yes, so with all that's happening, one of the most important and the most exciting ways to end the year will be a New Year's Eve party here at Whitney Center, and in the way that Whitney Center can only do it, with lots of glitz and stars and glitter and champagne. Yeah, so we're good. We're covered.
I just want to say, folks that have been here for a number of years, please share what Molly Ryan and her band. She's got a band of 5 professional musicians. They've come here for a number of years. We kind of took a pause during COVID, but they are from New York City. Each and every one of them has their own band. They play at the Rainbow Room. They're featured in all the jazz and magazines and so on. They do mostly swing, but we have a most enjoyable evening. So thank you, and very happy Thanksgiving to you and yours.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad you interrupted. So the board of directors met this morning to review the work of the finance committee, which governs our budget, and that has been work that Jeff has been shepherding for the last several months to work and to come up with our 2023 budget. I won't bury the lead. We proposed, and it was approved, that we implement a 5% monthly fee rate increase. So the history of our rate increases has been a steady 3% every year that we've done for most of the time I've been here. It's been 3%, certainly the last 10 years. And that has been an effort to keep that growth as stable and as predictable as possible. What has happened over that time, however, and you heard Greg, I don't know what's going on with me today. Sorry, Jeff. You heard Jeff allude to it, that there is an operating loss that we incur, and that operating loss has actually existed. It's a product of our business model that has existed since I got here. It was much worse in 2005. It's gotten better. However, it still exists, and the 3% increase every year has not closed that gap. It has not accounted for that operating loss. So here's just a quick overview of some of the expense growth, the justification for it, and then Jeff and I will be hosting a separate meeting, a discussion where we'll review the budget in more detail, and we'll walk through some of these elements. We did that last year, and it seemed to go over pretty well. And so we're going to do it again this year, and you can we'll get that information out, and you can come back and we can answer some very specific questions. So we are seeing incredible, as you can imagine, and I think you're seeing it as well, we're seeing incredible inflationary impact, right? That shouldn't be news to anyone. For example, our employee benefits going into next year are increasing almost 9%. Our ancillary health services, our repairs and maintenance, we're looking at a 20% increase in that line item. Our other operating expenses, sort of the smaller expenses, cumulatively are looking at an 11% increase. We're looking at a 15% increase in our utilities going into next year. We're looking at a 12% increase in our insurance going into next year. So all of these things cumulatively are contributing to an operating loss that they have over time. We pay $2.3 million a year in property taxes, and there's capital investment and so on. Okay, so what we've done is that almost $2 million operating loss that we've been carrying for the last several years has been offset by the entry fees that come in. Okay, so there are two aspects of our model, of our revenue model. There's the monthly fees, and then there's the upfront entry fees. Those are the two major components. We ought to be able to break even on the monthly operation. Okay, we have not. The model, the Whitney Center has, long before I got here and since, has seen an operating loss and taken some of the entry fees that should go towards capital improvements and those kinds of things, and subsidized that operations. And we've ridden that for a long, long time. We've been able to keep, that 3%. So we're able to project a $1.5 million loss next year on operations. However, we'll be able to subsidize that with the entry fees. And so we're still a healthy organization in terms of overall cash. Okay. However, we do need to start closing that gap. And so, given the inflationary pricing that we're seeing, all of the costs, we felt that this was an appropriate price increase to go to a 5% rate increase this year. My hope is that we won't have to continue at that rate, but we'll see what next year brings. We wanted to make sure that we weren't pricing ourselves out of the market and creating look, it's already expensive enough. So whatever increase you get is going to be more expensive, and I get that. We do look at our competitors and what they're doing to make sure that we're not some anomaly and we're not seeing something that we should be seeing. So there's a national CEO forum that a major investment banker has for these properties, and then 5.5% across the country seems to be the median. Here, we know that a couple of our competitors are right around that 5% and higher. We know that Evergreen Woods is 9%. They're putting in a 9% price increase to next year. And from 2021 to 2022, they implemented a 6.5% increase. And so while we're within the range, we're on the lower end of the range. One of the reasons we're able to do that, and again, I don't want to go into too much detail here because it could get a little wonky, but our wages. So wages are the biggest component of our expenses, right? They out of our out of our $24 million operating expenses before taxes, utilities, and insurance, 11.8 of that is salaries. Okay, that is actually flat going into next year. And the reason it's flat is that we are taking advantage of workforce issues to look at the organization and to make sure that we're not too top-heavy, that we have the appropriate staffing, and we're still able to give rate increases to our team members. We've been adjusting minimum wage ahead of the state's schedule, so we've been improving the lower end of the wage scale ahead of what the state is mandating. We've looked at segments or job classes to make sure we stay competitive on the nursing side, CNAs, and so on. So we make adjustments throughout the year. We just don't wait for an annual budgeting process. So even with our ability to increase wages for our staff, we're able to reorganize somewhat to keep that line flat. And that is allowing us to keep the rate increase at 5%. So there's some other levers that we're going to be pulling to look at how we continue to control costs. We should see some, I don't know how much scale, economies of scale we're going to see with bringing Meadow Mills on, and how much more bargaining power we might have. It'll help that operation across the street. It may not have that much benefit to our ongoing operation, but we'll see how that works. And by the way, the numbers I'm giving you are without the Meadow Mills operation sort of layered in. I wanted to do apples to apples and not sort of confuse things. Okay. Thoughts about any questions? I know there are concerns, so I won't ask that. But any thoughts about or questions about what I just shared? Joe.
Is Meadow Mills running at a profit?
Meadow Mills is actually break even. The question is Meadow Mills running at a profit? Meadow Mills is actually just about break even. And one of the reasons is that they're oversubscribed. So you mentioned it, or someone mentioned it earlier about transitioning, right? So there are 54 residents, Meadow Mills residents now. We've got 10 folks ready to move. So we actually have 64, right? We're oversubscribed in beds. So because of the allocation of those monthly fees, they're actually ahead, running a positive margin.
And are their rates are their costs about the same per person?
Are their costs about the same per person? Yes. So the going rate for the type of care that Meadow Mills, the type of service that Meadow Mills offers in the marketplace is about $7,200 a month, $7,200 to $7,400 a month. They pay on a monthly basis. There's no upfront entry fee. It's a different model. It's kind of more of a rental type model. Most of the folks that are there now were guaranteed a rate prior to our coming on, and we're going to honor that, averaging around $6,500, right? Or about $6,200. So what the revenue right now is below market. But we don't want to go in there and then bump everyone's fees. So new admissions, non-Whitney Center admissions coming into Meadow Mills will be paying the market rate right around 72, 74. So over time, we'll see that correct itself. Okay. All right. I am sorry. I wish I could come up here and say no rate increase next year, or 2% or 3%, but these are the circumstances that we're in, and you're going to do that math, and you're not going to be happy. I'm not happy about it, but this is what we need to do to afford continuing the operation here at Whitney Center. So. Jeff and I will publish the date of the budget discussion, the explanation of the discussion. We'll have some slides to walk through. Anyone who's interested, or anyone who could stand it. I know you're interested. It's whether you can sit through that kind of presentation or not. Okay? Any last questions, comments? Yes, Greg.
Are there plans to do anything about climate change mitigation?
So the question is, so that's a little bit of a curveball for me, so I'm not going to have an answer. The question is, are there plans to do anything about climate change mitigation? And so I'd like to talk to you more specifically about that offline to see what you mean by that, and we can discuss that. Okay? Okay, well, thank you very much. Sorry for running late. Thank you.